Hi guys, this is my Syngonium Albo Variegata. Now, it is climbing up my bamboo tree. It was looking lovelier in the middle of last year, but now it seems that the bottom part of the plant have started to shed all its leaves, so I've been cutting them off. For instance, they go yellow like that and I just cut them off. So now it seems that the plant is climbing higher and higher, so the leaves are also going higher and higher. But the bottom part of it is going bald. Also, if you take a look at the pot that it's in, I think this must be the most root-bound plant in the world. Some roots have even grown out of the bottom of the hole and got itself planted into the pot of my bamboo. And also, if you can see from here, some of the stems have already gotten some of its roots from the middle of the nodes. It's gotten its roots down all the way along the bamboo. Actually, so it's easier to see. So these are all the Syngonium roots, and it's gone all the way down and also planted itself into the bamboo pot. So I'm telling you all this because I have a plan which I don't know whether will work or not. Now, since the plant is climbing higher and that's not ever going to be leaves here, what I'm planning to do is I'm planning to chop it off around here. I've looked into all the roots, and I have 4 plants here. 3 of the plants already have roots from the middle of the plant going down to the bamboo pot. So I'm assuming that this part here, even if I cut it off, the plant will still be able to survive because it's rooted into the bamboo pot halfway. So that's what I'm planning to do. I hope it's going to work, otherwise this whole plant is going to die. But before I do that, I'm also going to cut off some growing tips here, and I'm going to replant it into a new pot and root some new plants. I have 3 cuttings here with me, and all of them have significant root forms already, so they should be easy to root into a new pot. So this one has already been cut off a couple of weeks ago as a cutting for a friend. And this is the new shoot that's growing out. It looks like it's going to be very white. So I'm going to wait for a while. First of all, let it heal from the stress first. And then secondly, I want to see how this leaf is going to open up. If it's all white, then I think I should leave it on the plant first before I make another cutting out of this. So this one is going to have to wait because I know as soon as I cut it off, it will die immediately. But I already have 3 cuttings, and I think these will root quite easily. Okay guys, so it's been a couple of days now since I made the cutting for this Syngonium. So what I'm going to do now, as planned, is I am going to cut this plant off its pot. Now this branch in particular, is actually detached from the bamboo. So if I cut this off, I might just use this as a cutting. Yeah, let's just do that. I'll just cut this off and make it into a cutting. Pull this off the plant, so I have another cutting here, which I will plant in another substrate. You know all these roots that's going down to the soil of the bamboo plant? right? So all these roots, I can see they start from around this part of the plant. So if I cut the plant off below these roots, I am assuming it should be safe. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll just make a cut here. This is not attached, so I will make a cut here, here. So now this pot is free to be removed, but I can't lift it because I know there's still some roots. So I'm just going to pull it off. Yep. See, these were the roots attached to the pot, which is fine. So now I've broken them off. So as you can see, there are a lot of Syngonium roots attached to the bamboo tree into the soil. So I'm actually pretty confident that this plant is going to carry on living. So anyway, I've already cut them off, so there's no turning back. Woo! Here is the remaining of what's been cut off. And I have this new extra cutting here. Now let's go into the yard and check out what's inside the pot and see how root bound it is. And we will decide what's the next step from there. Okay, we're here at my yard. So now I want to remove this and see how it looks inside. I've not watered this plant. Wow. Wow. I've not watered this plant for a few days, so it's actually quite light and easy to remove. And there's some rotten roots here. So this one is really super root bound. I'm quite certain that this plant is still viable. I will cut off 1/3 of the root at least. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'll cut off 1/3 of the root, and I am going to trim these down to maybe about here. About here maybe. I'm going to leave a few notes. Okay, but I'm going to trim it down. Let's do that first. I'll just trim it above the node. Okay. I'll try and remove all this. Okay. So now I have these 4 and I will remove at least 1/3 of the root system. So they actually don't need so much roots anymore, because it's just like what's left is just the stems, so they don't need so much support in the soil. They don't need all this root support to feed anything, because they're basically no more leaves. I'm going to remove all these top roots as well. Okay, so what I have now, it's what's left here. I'm just cutting off more of these that's hanging out. So now I've got this slightly smaller root system, And these 4 branches and this peculiar looking whatever that I made. What's the use of this thing anyway? But it's stuck there already. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm going to reboot this plant and see whether it's going to work. I'm going to put it back into the pot with new substrate, and I'm going to reboot this little bugger and see if it gives me new growth. I will keep you guys posted. It's exciting, isn't it? It's fascinating. I'm also excited to see what's going to happen to these 4 these 4 stems. Hey guys, let me give you the first update of this Syngonium since I've cut it off its root ball. Now it looks to me that it's growing quite well still. The leaves are taut and they're not droopy, which means they're still drinking water. And let me show you the first vine. The first vine is giving me a new leaf, and I think it's going to be as white as this one. The second vine is also giving me a new grow tip. Can you see that? Now that is a new grow tip. Okay, whereas the third vine, which is down here, is also giving me a new growth tip. Look at that. So they're all still growing. All right, and let me show you something fascinating. So let's go back to the first vine. Let me bring you all the way down. Whoops. To here. Look at that. So from the middle of the vine, it's giving me a new tip. And the second vine is doing exactly the same. From the middle is giving me another new tip. So which means instead of 3 new tips from the top, I now have 5 new tips, because 2 tips are coming out from the middle of the vine, which is great. And I thought it was going to die when I cut it off its root ball. Well, it's not. It's growing even more relentlessly. Okay, there's something else quite fascinating that I want to show you guys. So last night I was clearing up some of the old leaves. You know, when you cut off an old leaf like that, usually you cut it off here and the part of the leaf is still stuck here, and after a few days it goes dry. So I've never really peeled off the dried part of the leaf from the nodes. But last night I was bored, so I did a little bit of housekeeping and I did just that. So I peeled off some of the old leaf that was stuck to the nodes, and look what I discovered. Growing nodes. Now that is a root which comes out from the segments, and the growing node is just above the root. Isn't that cute? I wonder if all these are going to grow out. If all these are going to grow out as well, I am going to have so many new vines coming off this. That would be the dream, wouldn't it? Okay, so looks like I did not make a mistake cutting off the Syngonium off its roots. These roots are doing its job. Okay, let me show you the root that I've cut off. So this is the one. Nothing has happened to it yet. It's not dead, but it's not growing anything yet. I've cut off at least half of the root ball inside. I'm sure it's trying to establish the root before it's going to give me anything. So we'll see about this. So this one is doing nothing yet. I will go inside and show you the cuttings I've made. So the cuttings are here, and they are also doing quite well. The leaves feel quite taut, which means they are sucking up moisture from the root. I have some leaves around here which turn yellow, which is fine. Those were the intermediate leaves. These are the tips. This one is unfurling a new leaf. This one is coming out with a new leaf as well from here. And this one's doing nothing yet. This one here is doing nothing yet. Okay, but they are all still growing, which is great. So this is the first update. I will continue to update you guys. Hey guys! Okay, I want to give you another update. So this is after 6 days. As you can see, that leaf that was furled up has unfurled and it's nearly fully white except for this part here. So I have like kind of 2 consecutive white leaves. Anyway, so it's still growing, and the other vine has already put up quite a nice new leaf here. I'm just waiting for it to come out from its scatterfield. The third vine has also put out, and this one it looks green to me, so I don't know what's going to happen to this. Probably it's going to be a lot of green in that, but we'll see when the leaf finally comes out. So all the 3 vines are growing well, but what I want to show you is something more exciting. So if you follow me down these 2 vines, so all the way down. Okay, I want to show you. Can you see this here? I actually have an intermediate growth. A new leaf trying to come out from one of the nodes in the center of the plant. And that's not it. If you follow me down some more, there's one more here, and there is one more here. Where is it? Yes, here. Look at that. That's one intermediate growth from the first vine, which is pretty cool, isn't it? Besides those that are coming out from the top, I actually have a potential of 5 more new vines, which is amazing considered I chopped them off their root ball. Here's the root ball. Is also growing well. Look at that. Look at that. They are all giving me, whoops, that was loud. They are all giving me some new spikes. Also from the center, I spot one here and I spot another one here. This one doesn't seem to have one. Oh no, there is one. I spot one here. Look at that. Oh my gosh, and this one as well. Look at that. So I have 1, 2. I don't know how many of these are going to be viable, because I think this is just a natural thing for the plant to do. It's trying to survive, so it's giving out a lot of new babies. But I don't think all of them are going to survive. But at least I know they're alive. I am so happy with the results. Let me take you to see the cuttings now. So here are the cuttings. This one hasn't done much. Nothing's come out of it. This leaf is browning. This one hasn't changed much either. There's still that coming out. This one is unfurling. So the cuttings are not dead, but I suppose because they need to root first before they can grow leaves, they probably need a little more time. Alright, I'll continue to give you guys more update. Just before I post this, I will do another one, a final one, and see whether all these points that have been growing out are viable. Hey guys! Okay, this is going to be my last update. I think this is about 1 month since I've cut my Syngonium off its root. As you can see, it is growing very well. Look at all the new leaves I have, and most of them are white. I'm a bit worried about that. I'll see what happens. This one is alright, this one is green. So, but this branch has been giving me a lot of white leaves. So I'll see what the next leaf is. If it's white, then I'll probably have to chop it off. As you can see, they're all white, and white. So if there's too much white, then the plant will be very unhealthy. So I'm going to have to chop the top off and encourage some green to grow. But anyhow, it is growing very well. This branch as well, this branch is going very well. It gave me one pure green leaf. But the next leaf that's going to come out, it's going to be variegated as well. And remember I showed you all these little spikes? All these ones and this one. Look at how long they've grown. But they don't seem to be developing, which I think is fine because the plant is concentrating all its development on the top shoots. Now, I feel like all these little extra shoots that's coming out from the nodes are just like security. If, for instance, the top of the plant don't do well, then all these little shoots in the center will form new plants just to keep the survival of this plant. But they're actually developing, but very slowly. So we shall see in time whether they do develop into another stem. Look at this one. Looks as if it's going to be another plant, isn't it? Another vine. Well, I don't know. And this one here. Okay, so I want to just talk a little bit about this part here. Now, this used to be one plant. So it used to be joined here. So I snipped it off and I cut a bit off the stem. Because this plant had one growth point here, and then there is another one here which is growing quite well. So I thought with the other one that's on top there, which is growing very well, I don't think this plant would want to support 3 new shoots. So what I did was I checked, and I found that under this shoot there is a root. So this root is already in the soil. So I thought if I cut this off, this is going to be able to sustain this shoot and that one up there which is growing. And then this one has its own root system which is also in the pot. So I thought I'll experiment it for a bit. I cut this plant into 2. Now this is now on its own with its own root. So I'm trying to see whether this is going to grow into a new plant. Okay, now the top looks a bit dried because it's been really hot these few days. But hopefully inside it is going to sprout out another new shoot here. So we shall see. This would be for a future time. Okay, with regards to the cuttings, I have actually replanted them in here. So they're also growing very well in here. They've become very sturdy. And I have some new leaves. A new one here as well. So I've replanted them back into this pot, added some substrate of cocoa chips and leca, and I'm going to just try and let it climb up this tree again to fill up this part that's been bald for a long time. So yes, this one is growing really well and I'm very pleased with the results. So let's now go to the root that I've chopped off and see how it's doing. Ta-da! Look at that. This is a month worth of growth. Isn't it incredible? Look at all the new leaves I'm getting. So I still have 4 plants here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, there were shoots coming out from both nodes, this one and the one at the bottom. All of them had 2 nodes, but only one node is thriving. So like I said, this plant is really very hardy. It gives out 2 nodes, like 2 chances of survival, and if its main survival node grows into a plant, then the other one just shrinks back into the stem, into the vine. Such a clever plant, isn't it? It gives itself so much surviving chances. Here it is, beautiful leaves. I really love them when they are juvenile. Look at the arrow shape, the arrowhead shape. I love Syngonium when they are this shape. Don't really like them when they split into their 3 lobes or their 4 lobes. Really pretty when they're like that. I am so pleased. Now I have a new plant. So there it is, my Syngonium experiment. I'm very, very happy with it. Okay guys, until the next video, thanks for watching.